Nintendo Entertainment Center don't believe the power. You will believe the control. Experience it for yourself. Next generation from Nintendo. Now you're playing with superpower.
Welcome back, guys. That wasn't me, by the way, that stupid idiot in the intro. Anyway, I just thought I'd have a laugh, have a little bit of a reboot with this series, because I think it needed it. Because I want to mix things up, instead of just reeling off a load of pickups for you. I want to look back at the console and the whole nostalgia thing, and some of the aspects of the magazine that I used to buy back in the day, which was Super Play. They reviewed all the Super Nintendo games, and I literally took that magazine as Bible, gospel. But looking back at it now, I think they got a few games wrong. So it'd be interesting to look back at their reviews for some of the games that we're going to look at in the videos. And of course, the old game collection, he's been getting bigger, so I've got loads of games to show you. So of course I've got pickups. At some point I will do a video on the Super Nintendo collection. We do need an update, because we haven't done it for ages, have we? Well over 100 NTSC American games now, so definitely need an update. Maybe that would be my next video, but for this one I want to look at I want to do the art of box art. We'll look at some variations in the box art of some of the Snes games, because of course Japanese, American and PAL, they're all different for some games. Also we'll do a Q&A. I've got a really interesting question I want to ask you, and I want your feedback on it. And also of course we've got a game feature. We're going to pick one game out of the collection and do one coin, one credit, and see how far we get into the game. And because I'm crap at games, guys, I just want to see how far we get with one credit, because I think that's enough for a video. If we just sat there for an hour doing a whole gameplay video, I think you could switch off. And anyway, there's loads of walkthrough videos of games, but I just want to do one coin, one credit on a game out of my collection. So yeah, it's been a long time since I've done a video, guys. I've been extremely busy, but I'm still collecting, still involved with the hobby. And of course, I've been doing a few podcasts as well. I think I mentioned it on my last video, but I've done one for the Maximum Power Up podcast, and we did an episode on the Super Nintendo. So look out for that, guys. It's the Maximum Power Up podcast. Great bunch of guys on there. And we look at some of our favourite, we picked 5 of our favourite Snes games, and we had to talk about it. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So look out for that, guys. And of course, Mojo Interactive. I've done a few episodes for them as well. That was a lot of fun. So check those podcasts out, guys. But without further ado, let's get into it, guys. And let's have a look at what game I've been playing on the Super Nintendo for the last couple of weeks. It's a pretty cool one, I think. Let's have a look. So the game I've been playing a lot of recently, guys, is Top Gear 2. As you can see here on my CRT, my Bang Olufsen. Fantastic game. Used to play this a hell of a lot back in the day with my brother. And because we were brothers, we were quite evenly matched. Our skill set was pretty much the same. So every single game, every single lap went right down to the wire. It was so cool, so fast paced, such a brilliant game, and it still holds up today. It's really, really cool. Now, I owned the first one, Top Gear, and I did enjoy this, although number 2 is such an improvement, guys. It's so much better on every aspect. For starters, graphically, Top Gear 2 had much better draw distances. So for example, in Top Gear 1, the night levels, as you can see here, they literally just painted the road black and the night was still blue, the sky was still blue, so it didn't really give the kind of perception that it was nighttime at all. But still, it was a good game. It played well. But 2 gave you better draw distances, and as you can see there, the night level, the darkness creeps a lot further down into the road, so you couldn't see that much further, as far into the road as you could do in the first edition. So it gave a much better perception of nighttime. All you could see were like the brake lights of the car, especially as they went around a corner. So that was a good indication that the corner was coming up, because you could see the brake lights come on, which was really, really cool. Never seen that in a game before. And of course, it had fog levels as well, and it did that same draw distance as well. All you could see were the brake lights as it went round the corner, so that's all you were following. You couldn't see the road at all. It was so much fun. And musically, the sound in this game in Top Gear 2 is some of the best music on the Super Nintendo. In fact, I use it on some of my videos. My mate Rich has actually remixed the track Auckland in the Australian level. Brilliant music, absolutely massive improvement over the first one. You couldn't wait to hear the next tune, it was so cool. And of course you had upgrades in 2 which you didn't get in the first one. So you could upgrade your car, you could upgrade the engine, your tyres, your armour, and especially, which I used to use a lot, nitrous or nitro. So my brother would upgrade his engine, he'd save up his money, get a big engine, think he could outpower me, and I would literally just blast my way through to the front of the pack on the first lap, and just hope that my engine would take me all the way to the end of the level. And he would literally just rely, and literally guys, it went right down to the wire every single time. So it made for good tactics, but there wasn't much in it in the end. It was so much fun. Really, really cool game. So this came out in '93 by Kemco. And let's see what Superplay. So Superplay was a magazine I used to buy back in the day. This came out in '93. This is issue 3, and they scored Top Gear, the first one, 76%, which is about right, I think, for the game. Graphics 75, sound 70, gameplay 85, game life 69. And they basically said, a neat little game, this one, but you just have to say Mario Kart. And it runs into a corner shivering. It's just not in the same league. Well, it's not in the same league. It's a completely different game. This is a balls out racer. Shouldn't really be compared with Mario Kart at all. It's a different game completely. So yeah, I'm not so into his review there and what he said. That's Jonathan Davis. But I think the score's about right. But then when you get into the review of Top Gear 2, that's where Superplay lets itself down a bit, I think. So Top Gear 2 was reviewed in issue 13, and they gave it 74, 2 points down on the first one, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because to me it was a massive improvement. But I think they just got bored of this type of game by then. You know, they keep comparing it with Mario Kart all the time. The perspective of players will soon spot that all you're really doing is keeping your thumb on the accelerator while weaving from side to side for an hour after hour, which will induce boredom before too long. Well, this guy obviously didn't like this game, didn't get it at all. This is a fantastic game, guys. And it's good, this review actually compares it with Lamborghini American Challenge, which I haven't actually played, but they've given it similar scores. In fact, they compare the two, and Top Gear 2 wins just by 1 point. So that's quite an interesting read. So yeah, interesting Superplay, but you got it wrong, this guys, completely wrong. Top Gear 2 definitely deserves an 80, 85 at least. So yeah guys, that's Top Gear, fantastic game, get your hands on that. So let's move on to pickups now. Let's see what I've picked up this last couple of weeks. Right guys, let's kick this off with a game that I bought last year, and it was missing the manual, and I paid a silly amount of money for this game, but good reasons. It is a fantastic game, one of my favourite games in my collection. It is Pocky and Rocky 2, and I think I go on about this game quite a lot actually. I do enjoy this series, it is absolutely fantastic, but this game was missing the manual when I got it, which is crazy for the money I paid for it. But it is that rare, guys. Honestly, this took me a year to hunt this game down, and I just thought, you know, I just got to have it in this condition. I'll find the manual eventually, and I did. I found the manual in the US, it got delivered, so I finally have a complete Pocky and Rocky 2 with the manual, which is fantastic because it just adds to the price, the value of the game. And for me, manual's really important, and this is why I collect American carts. Is because I just love looking through the book. I love reading the English, the little intro, the story. I know it's silly, but in some games it's important. RPGs, you need to know what's going on. So for me, that's why I went American. And it's so great to have that manual. I did actually pick up the repro version, reproduction of the manual, only because I was so desperate to see all the characters in here and the little storyline that goes with it. I know it sounds silly, but for me it's important to have the manual, you know. And this repro is good. It's good quality, but all the layout of the manual is completely different than the original, so it's nice to have the original. And it's a little bit blurred. So I think they've got the wrong resolutions with the photographs here, so it's a little bit blurred with some of the sprite pictures. So really happy to get that, guys. It completes my Pocky and Rocky. Absolutely fantastic game. Let's put that back in the box. So yeah, I picked that up, what, a couple of months ago now. Expect to pay well over 500 quid for this game, guys. This is a really expensive and extremely rare game. I don't know why. It's a good game. Normally they're rare because they were rubbish and they, you know, were limited numbers, but that was a good game. Got good reviews. Next up is the game that you can see in the background here on my Bang Olufsen. This is Magic Sword. This is an arcade conversion by Capcom. Unfortunately, this is only one player. I'm pretty sure the arcade version was co-op, but still, this plays great. So to me, this is like a side-scrolling version of Gauntlet. You know, you've got the RPG Dungeons and Dragons style going on. You can actually pick up NPCs in this, so you don't feel alone. Okay, they're all locked away in little prison cells. You've got to find the key, open the right door, and you'll get an NPC who will walk around with you, and you can level him up. And you can swap characters throughout the game, but beware. Once you level your character up, if you change characters, you'll start with a character at level 1 again. So it's best to keep with the one that you like, level him up, power him up, and it becomes really cool. I actually like the ninja in this game. I use him quite a lot. He seems to be quite powerful. But you've got like clerics, fighters, all that sort of D&D thing going on. It's great. It's a great hack and slash RPG and platform game as well. You can see him jumping on the platforms there, which is pretty cool. Cool music, fantastic game, and look guys, it's in pretty good condition. I paid around 50 quid for this game. Lovely box art. Look at that box art. That would really stand out on the shelf, wouldn't it? For me anyway, being a Dungeons and Dragons fan in the 80s, I would have picked this up, no sweat, because I just think it looks so cool, doesn't it? So yeah, really chuffed to get that in the collection. Now next up is a game I've got so much nostalgia for, guys. I had this game in my collection back in the day for a long time, and only recently traded it in, what, a couple of years ago when I sold my PAL collection. And so chuffed it, so proud to get this back in my collection. It's Zombies Ate My Neighbours. Completely different box art than the PAL version. This didn't get a Japanese release, only US and PAL. I actually prefer this box art, to be honest with you. It's got that whole cult B-movie style going on, with the superimposed zombies in the background. She's biting her nails there. She's shit scared of them coming to eat her. It's just a fantastic game. So it's got 55 levels. It's kind of like a top-down sandbox where you're roaming around, picking up loads of different weapons, fighting loads of different characters, and all the weapons do different things. So you can pick up, like, for example, silver plates will defeat a werewolf. But they're relentless, the enemies. They come at you really quickly, and variations of them as well. So you've got to do a lot of weapon management within the game, swapping your weapons around to fight the different enemies, because they all do different things. But as you can see, you've got levels there with a flying saucer coming down. There's a big baby that comes on the screen with a bottle. She's sucking the bottle, the dummy. It's really fun. It's got a lot of humour to this game. And so chuffed to get this back in the collection. So cool. Konami at its best, guys. They really did make some fantastic games for the Super Nintendo. So really chuffed to get that. Now, next up, I never thought I'd pick this up actually because it was going for a lot of money. It wasn't on my hit list. But this came up, buy it now, £60, Lethal Enforcers. I don't remember playing this in the arcade, funny enough, because I did get out of the arcades towards the end of the late 80s. So I think this was a kind of a 90s arcade game. But I did play it on the Mega CD, and that was arcade perfect, I've been told. And this is pretty cool as well, if you can get it going. It's not an easy game to get working and calibrated. You have to calibrate your gun before you start the game. And if you've got a Bang Olufsen like this, it's really difficult because the B&O has got a glass front, which seems to reflect a lot of light, which affects the gun, calibrating it, which is unfortunate. But I did manage to get it going. I cleaned the glass, cleaned the gun, dimmed the lights down. It seemed to work a lot better. But yeah, not ideal for light games, this TV, I'll have to admit. But chuffed to get this in a collection. It's in fantastic condition, guys. Look at that. So I believe you can get a pink gun as well. And you can play co-op, which is cool. Really, really cool. So let's have a look in the box. Amazing condition with the flip top. And this is what you get inside. It's Japanese, guys. It's got the Japanese manual. Doesn't matter too much. The game plays or has English text. Just the beginning has the startup screen is in Japanese, but it's pretty easy to work out. But yeah, it wasn't on the top of my list. And I only bought this because of the price. 60 quid I thought was a bargain in this condition. As you can see, they come with a baggie. You see that, guys? Nice gun. Really nice to hold that gun, actually. Feels really well. I actually used it in the intro video. That was me holding this particular gun. So yeah, it's really cool. Really impressed. I played a little bit of it. Got to do a gameplay of this. A lot of fun. A lot of fun, guys. So yeah, interesting to get that. I never thought I'd pick that game up. Not for a long time anyway. So that was really cool. So what else we got, guys? Yeah, so the next game is actually my game feature. Which we'll get into a bit later. But I'll just show you what it is. Been wanting this game for a long time. One of the best shooters on the system. It is Space Megaforce, aka Super Aleste, on the PAL and Japanese regions. I actually prefer this box art over the PAL version, to be honest with you. I just think, sorry, over the Japanese version. I just think it's got a little bit more character. I think the PAL version is pretty much the same. In fact, let's have a look at that. This is the PAL version. And this is the Japanese version. So yeah, I don't know, with the black borders and this kind of artwork, I just think it looks suave. It really does look cool. And guys, what a game. It's a really cool game. I have to say, we'll get into it in a bit actually. We'll talk about the game in a bit. I just want to show you the box now for starters, and then we'll go into the game in a little bit more detail. But that is it. That is all my pickups, so guys. I've got others, but we'll save them for another video. So what I want to do now, guys, is ask you some questions. I want to answer questions, and we'll just have a look at a bit of Super Play, okay? Let's have a look at that. Right, guys, so I got my first Super Nintendo way back in '92. I didn't get it on launch, but I do remember seeing it for the first time running in a high street store called Dixon's, which was in the UK. They sold camera and hi-fi equipment. I think I was waiting for a bus at a bus stop there, just looking into the shop window, and I see this console, the Super Nintendo, running this game, Super Street Fighter. And I was aware of Street Fighter because Street Fighter was one of the games that actually put me off the arcades, to be honest with you. It's one of the reasons why I got out of the arcades, believe it or not. So I'm an old school gamer, guys. You know, I love all the old type of games, Kung Fu, Scramble, Robotron. You know, they're the sort of games I love to play. And when Street Fighter came along, it brought a whole new demographic into the arcades. A younger bunch of people. And these guys were shit hot of Street Fighter. Honestly, when this game came out, these guys were unbelievable, and they whipped my ass every single time. You know what, guys? It put me off. It put me off playing the game. It put me off going to the arcades, because it seemed to be like all these fighting games were the new thing. And I just couldn't get to grips with it, honestly. It was just all too many controls, too many buttons, you know? 6 buttons, man, wasn't used to it. It's crazy when you think about it. But when I saw the Super Nintendo running in Dixon's, I thought to myself, you know, if I get that console, I could get pretty good at this game, practice at home. You know, maybe go back down the arcade and whip their ass. Do you know what I mean? That's my way of thinking back then. So I saved up the money. I was a young working man, around about 20, 21, something like that. And I remember I was working at Hampton Court Palace. This was after the fire there they had. Young bricklayer there, repairing all the chimney stacks there. And I was saving up my money, and I managed to save up to get the Super Nintendo, and I got this one, the Street Fighter edition, which is my original one, which I've dragged out my dad's loft. It's been up there for 20 odd years in a black bag, bin bag. I dragged it out about 8 years ago, and I was shocked how good condition it was. Just smells a bit musty, that's all. But yeah, it's fantastic. And you know, I took this back home. I think I moved back in with my dad, and my brother was still at home. We played this together, and as I said earlier, you know, we were quite evenly matched. The games were so tight, went right down to the last point. It was incredible. We had so much fun on this game. And you know, guys, this console, this box art just sold the console. Look at it. Includes the world's greatest arcade hit. That's all you need to sell a console, isn't it? The world's greatest arcade hit on your console. You can take it home today. You know, unbelievable. Wish they did that today. Alright, they've got Zelda now, haven't they? But no box art. Just crappy box art on the Switch. Wasn't chuffed with that at all. But this is incredible. Absolutely lovely box art. I love all the PAL region box art for the Super Nintendo. I've got 3 or 4 of them up there, different variations. Can't beat the PAL box art. It's really cool. So this was my first console, and it is probably my best console I've ever owned, and always will be. It's absolutely fantastic. But what gets me, guys, is the prices of games back then. They were so expensive. They are still today. So they've held their value so well because they're carts. They're instant, aren't they? You just stick them straight into the console and the game comes up. But you know, there was a lot of imports around as well. Japanese imports were available, and Superplay the magazine, which we'll have a look at in a bit, reviewed a lot of Japanese games, which was really interesting. We'd never seen anything like that, because I was used to buying Crash magazine, which was for the Sinclair Spectrum, and it had nothing like that. It was all UK based producers, developers. So the first time seeing Japanese imports was really exciting, and we used to try and hunt these games down. And I remember going to a shop in Chiswick, around Shepherd's Bush area. I remember walking into this shop, guys, honestly, and he had a Neo Geo section at the back, Mega Drive on this wall, and Super Nintendo on that wall, and I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. All the posters, it was so cool, honestly. The Neo Geo stuff was like unbelievable. You see a guy coming in there buying those sort of games, you knew he had some money because they were really expensive. They were arcade games that you could take home. These were ports, but they were pretty damn good ports, you know what I'm saying? And they were a lot cheaper than a Neo Geo. So if any of you guys remember going to that shop, I can't remember the name of it, I really can't, but it was in, I think it was off the Gold Hawk Road in Shepherd's Bush. If any of you guys ever went into that, if you could let me know what that shop was called, because I can't remember. And another shop I used to go into to get my Super Nintendo games was Mad Andy's. And you might have heard me mention him before, because a couple of my Snes games had Mad Andy stickers on them, and I've kept them. A couple of the PAL games that I have. So Mad Andy had a shop in Richmond in London and one in Twickenham. Fantastic guy. Used to do the car boots, used to go around there, pick up the car boot stuff and sell it in the shop, and he was just well into his video games. It was such a cool shop to go in. So if any of you guys remember Mad Andy, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about any memories you have of that shop, because he was such a nice guy. So what I want to ask you guys, I mean, because these games were so expensive, I only had 2 or 3 games at one given time, because I just couldn't afford a game each week or each month. It was just that expensive. Especially the Japanese imports. I remember seeing Street Fighter Japanese for going for like 100 quid, which was crazy. And if you weren't working and you were at school, I don't know how the hell you could afford these games, because I was working and I couldn't. So I want to know how you got your games. Did you buy import games? Did you buy through Loot? Because that was a place where I got a lot of my games. I remember looking through Loot. Do you remember that magazine? It was kind of like a funny pink paper. Used to go to the back of that section, and there always used to be people in there selling their collections in there, which was a good way of picking up cheap games. But did you buy in the shop? Did you go to Woolworths to get your games, or where did you get your games from? And how many games did you have at one given time? I only had about 3 or 4. I remember trading in Secret of Mana to get Rampart, which at the time I thought was a shit deal. Because I read a review in Superplay and thought it was a really good review. I went out and got the game, and I didn't think that much of it. It took me a while to get into it, until my brother played with me and we played 2-player, and then I realised what the game was all about. It was a fantastic game, really enjoyed it. But at first I thought it was shit. But yeah, guys, where did you get your games from? Because they weren't easy to get hold of, Super Nintendo games. I mean, I found it quite hard. It was only like 2 shops or Loot for me. I remember Walrus was selling the odd few, but they didn't have that many. So let me know your memories, guys. Where did you get your Super Nintendo games from? Did you get them from Loot? Did you get them from a dedicated gaming store? Or Woolworths? I'm interested to know your stories. I really am, because I love all that nostalgia stuff. So yeah, that's a little bit of nostalgia for you guys. I thought I'd get that out there, because fond memories, guys, back in the day. It was such a fantastic console. It's still my favourite console to this day, and this is why I do these videos, just to share my memories and gameplays with you. So what I want to share with you now, guys, is the magazine that really brought the Super Nintendo to the forefront, really. It was the magazine that stood out from all the rest, and the reason for that, I think, it was the cover art was absolutely brilliant. It was done by Will Overton. It is Super Play. This is the first issue of Super Play. And also, it had Japanese import reviews and US import reviews, which I'd never seen before, and you just wanted to know what all the latest games were coming out, and this was a fantastic way to find out all that new information. So I'm going to lay the magazine down on the table here. I'm just going to have a little flick through, because this magazine, when it came out, guys, honestly, this was my gospel to go to. This was Bible for me, you know. This was such a great magazine. So let's have a look at this in a little bit more detail, because it's so cool. Right, guys, so we'll have a quick flick through of issue 1 of Super Play, which came out in November 1992 by Future Publishing. They'd already had a little bit of experience with Total magazine, which I think had been out for about a year. But this was the first dedicated magazine for one console in the UK. So it was a pretty new and exciting way of publishing magazines back then in '92. And the first ever Super Nintendo dedicated magazine, which was really, really cool, is what we needed. So we'll just have a quick flip through, guys. It's really nicely presented. As you can see, it talks there a little bit about up and coming Mario the movie, which was absolute rubbish. Super Play Hot List, games to look out for. Got a nice advert there for Castlevania, look at that. We've got Anime World. So this is what I liked about this magazine. It covered a lot of the anime manga scene coming out in Japan, which was completely new to the UK as far as I was concerned, until I picked up this magazine. So it was really exciting to read about all this stuff. This is one of my favourite pages of the magazine. It's basically all the charts, games that happen around the world. You've got the Japanese charts here. So at the top of the charts in Japan, in '92 was Super Mario Kart, and number 10 was Turtles in Time. We've got the American charts here, Street Fighter 2 at the top there, and at number 10 you've got Super Ghouls and Ghosts. UK charts, we've got Street Fighter, sorry, this is the UK import chart, so this is basically what we're buying from other countries. So we're top of the list is Street Fighter 2, because obviously it hadn't been released yet in the UK, so we're importing the US version. Contra, SimCity, Legend of Mystical Ninja. And the UK charts, we've got Super WWF WrestleMania, F-Zero Super Tennis, and at number 10 UN Squadron. Got a nice advert there for Mario Pinball, Super Mario Brothers Pinball, which is actually really good. I've played that. And then we've got a nice Super Nintendo Your Complete Guide, so it covers the 3 consoles from the 3 different regions, Japan, US and PAL regions. Goes into detail into the console, all the pros and cons of every version. So for example, smaller screen size on the PAL version, as she's demonstrating there. And then we've got a nice review of Super Mario Kart. So this is the Japanese review. So obviously it hasn't come out in the UK yet. It says UK release to be announced. And it's priced at approximately £50. So it's a nice review actually. So a lot of games have already been released before this magazine was first put on the shelves, was first marketed. So they try to cram quite a lot into this magazine actually. There's quite a few games already out there. And they've given Mario Kart a whopping 93%. Sorry about the glare, guys, it's quite difficult to film this actually. So Out of This World, aka Another World in the UK. Let's see that, guys. Priced at £45. Cracking game that, way ahead of its time, and they gave it 81%. I think they could have given it a little bit more. I really enjoyed that game. Bart's Nightmare, which I actually do have in the collection. I haven't played much of actually, but they've given it a fantastic score of 91%. Dinosaurs, a game by IRM. Another Japanese review. I haven't played this game, but they've given it a whopping 83%. That's a really good score actually. Don't know much about this game. I'll have to look out for this one. That's Dinosaurs. And then we've got Super Pang. That's a fantastic arcade port, and they've given it a whopping 72%. I think they could have given it a bit more than that actually. Golden Fighter, 42%. Obviously that looks a bit rubbish. Hook, 72%. I think I have played that. I'm not a big fan of it, I have to say. Super Bowling, I've given that 48%. A nice little guide of Prince of Persia. Now, we didn't have the internet back then, guys, so guides were really important in magazines. One of the reasons why we actually bought them. Xander's Big Adventure, 88%. Don't really know much about that game. Super F1 Circus, they've given that a good score of 83%. Another game I haven't actually played. Another early release, and that is a US review, and they've reviewed it against other racing games there. F1 Grand Prix, Battle Grand Prix, and GPX Cyber Formula. We've got a little player's guide of Street Fighter. Phalanx, which is a mediocre side-scrolling shooter, 70%, which I think is about right for this game. It's okay, nothing special. On the Ball, which I've actually got for my collection. Not a bad game, 52%. I could have given it a bit more than that. Dragons there. I absolutely hate this game. Hate the arcade game. It plays nothing like the arcade game. It's a platform game. I think they've given it way too high a score, 82% there. You see that, guys? Sorry about the glare. A really small review of Street Fighter 2, but as I say, they've tried to cram in so much into this magazine. Interesting to see the price there, £65. And they've given it a fantastic score of 94%, which I think it deserves. Super Smash TV gets a nice 84. Castlevania, only a quarter of a page, but I do think they revisit this game in more depth. It's a shame it only gets a quarter of a page. I think it deserves more than that, 91%. So many games in this first issue. Pilot Wings, 92%. R-Type, 72. I think they could have given it a little bit more. Okay, it's got a bit of slowdown, but it is a good game. Super Tennis, a nice 92%. One of my favourite tennis games ever. Absolutely brilliant game. Super WWF 74, UN Squadron, again amazing game, even better than the arcade version in my opinion. More characters to choose from, and they gave it a good score of 91%, which is really good. There's a nice layout of this magazine, you know, so easy to read. So many other magazines were just full of shit. They really were. Super Tennis, Player's Guide, loads of cheats. And then the bit at the back, What Kart, which was quite good, so you could quickly get a good reference of all the games that were out and get a quick score. I think they did change, they're giving it like an out of 10 point system, but I think in the later reviews they went back to the percentage. But there you go, guys. Super LS there gets an 8. So that's nice, just as a bit of reference, which I used to use if I was going into Kingston and I wanted to pick up a new game, didn't know anything about it. I'd quickly go into WH Smith, have a look at the back of Super Play and just check what score they'd given it, and you know, if it was a good score, I'd buy it on what they said, because this magazine for me was Bible. It really was. And then we get into the back of the magazine. No classifieds yet, is there? No, I think they did add that a bit later. So yeah, that's a quick flick through of issue 1 of Super Play magazine. Absolutely brilliant magazine. But now, guys, we're going to get on to my featured game of this video, which is... So the game feature for this week's video is...
Megaforce, presented by Toho.
Space Megaforce, aka Super LS. Have you played this, guys? It's a pretty cool game, I have to admit. It's the first time I'd ever played it. Bought this game purely on other people's recommendations and Super Play's reviews, and they don't let me down. Honestly, it is a really good game. It's not a game I would have picked up or played too much in the arcade, I have to admit, because I do find it a little bit of a dodge 'em up and not shoot 'em up. And what I mean by that is, you just have to hold down the fire button and it does all the firing for you. And with the old school shoot 'em ups that I like to play, you have to manage your bullets, because you only get a certain amount of them on the screen at one time. Like Space Firebird, you only get 3 bullets on the screen at one time. Juno First, you know, you really have to work out when to fire, when to press that button at the right time. Whereas this, you just constantly got your finger on the trigger button, and most of the time you spend dodging out the way of bullets, and that's why I call it a kind of dodge 'em up. But it doesn't detract from being a good game. It is a fantastic game, well presented with some good music. Fantastic game. I mean, it came out pretty early on in the Super Nintendo's life, and as I showed you earlier, this is my copy. I picked this up for £180, guys, in mint condition. So I'm really chuffed to get this in the collection. And what I want to show you, the manual, right? Because the manual is one of the best presented manuals I've seen for the Super Nintendo. I'm frightened to open it because it's almost mint. It is factory fresh, but it's so well presented, guys. Some lovely artwork to begin with. And it's got a bit of a story going on. It's got gameplay. It gets straight into a well-presented weapon system intro, telling you what the actual weapons do. So basically, in this game, it's a vertical shoot 'em up, and you pick up these capsules. You pick up a weapon. So you've got like a missile weapon. If you pick up these orange capsules that look like kind of like eggs, you can level your weapon up. Okay, and if you get the green egg here, it levels your weapon up a lot quicker, or it levels it up to the top peak of what it can achieve. My only gripe with this game is there is a little bit too many weapons in it. I think it could have done with less, maybe a half of this amount, because you do feel like you're getting pushed into getting another weapon you don't want. If there's so much on the screen at one given time, and the power-ups are in your way, you feel like you've got to take it. You've got no choice to take a weapon that you don't want, which can be a little bit annoying when you've got a really top powerful weapon. You then got to degrade it back down to a lower one, which is really annoying, I find. You get bombs in this game, which is really cool. Just obliterates everything on screen. You also get additional ships at 50,000, 200,000 and 500,000, which is really cool. So it's got a very arcade feel about this game. This is a beautiful manual. It's so well presented. Here we say we've got some basic battle level up screens here. So it's showing you here, if you pick up these orange orbs, it shows you your weapon getting leveled up from this is like a circle weapon that rotates around your ship. So you start off with one of these green circles, and then you get 2, and as your weapons level up to level 6, you get a a numerous amount of these green orbs that circle around your ships. Pretty cool. You can also actually control your weapons with the R button. So if you've got like missiles here, it shows you all the directions that your missiles can fire. You can change the direction by pressing the R button, which is a nice feature. There it's got the different types of weapons, so quite a lot here. You've got laser, missile, you've got the kind of like a Gradius selection here, fire. There's so much to choose from. You've got the areas here that you go through. There's about 12 different levels in this game. Some of them are quite like, they're like little mini levels, which is quite a nice little break from the main long drawn out levels, but they're over really quickly. But 12 really cool levels, some nice end of level bosses. There's an alien level, end of level boss. I haven't actually got to that yet, but I've heard level 4 is one of the hardest. So it'd be interesting to see how far I get in this game. But yeah, beautiful manual, guys. Really well presented. The overall package for this game is exquisite. It really is. Absolutely brilliant. Now we're just going to have a look at Super Play. It was reviewed in issue 3. And I do remember buying this. This was like a Christmas edition. The January edition. So it's got kind of like a Christmas feel about it. Again, Will Overton doing all the artwork for this magazine. And they gave it a pretty good score in here. And they reviewed it, the UK version, where is it, Super Aleste. A really detailed review on this game. Really enjoyed reading this, actually, before I did this video. And I guess their only gripe with this is the same with me, is there's just too many weapons. I think they could have narrowed it down to maybe 3 or 4. But they gave it a lovely score of 87% there, guys, which is really good. And I just want to quote here, this is a landmark game, perhaps the first shoot 'em up to prove conclusively that slowdown is not an epidemic Super Nintendo problem. This is gorgeous, fast, and features screens absolutely packed with baddies. What more could you possibly ask for? And they actually say here, they actually counted 70 sprites on the screen at one given time with no slowdown. This is how fast and smooth this game runs. It's really, really cool. Some lovely screenshots there. But yeah, beautifully reviewed game in Super Play issue 3. So, without further ado, guys, should we have a go? See how far we get? I'm really excited to play this. Let's get into it. Here we go, guys.
Megaforce, presented by Toho.
Let's do it. Come on! Come on! Let's have it. Right, you start off with a really crap weapon, so I'm going to go for a laser, which is meant to be the best. Let's see how far we get. I've just got my finger on the trigger button, and as I press the R button, you can see I can change direction or the output of my missiles. See that orange egg? That is a power up. But we're looking for a laser. See, there's laser there, laser level 2, so that's what we want. If I can get it.
Laser.
Just about got that. And it makes things a lot easier with the laser, I'm telling you now. With laser level 3. See up here it's got level 3. Do you like that viewpoint, guys, or do you think that the camera is better positioned directly in front of the TV? What do you reckon, guys? Or would you like to see a bit of me? I'm taking my eyes off the bloody game. I shouldn't do, really. Maybe we'll swap to a different position. So far so good, guys. Level 4. Lasers on level 4. It's all going well. Now that green is, yeah, that levels my laser up to level 5. You can see how much more powerful it is now. I think it can go to level 6. Pretty sure it can. Oh, that's awesome. Bomb. Need as many bombs as we can get, guys. Total demolition with this weaponry. I'll change the camera angle when we get to the boss, because I can pause the game. Oh, that was close. Itchy nose. We're on level 6 now with the lasers, guys. That is maximum power. Oh, those explosions. So many sprites. And the level boss, guys. I've got 6 bombs. This is quite tricky. See what I mean by too many weapons? I mean, it's so difficult to avoid them sometimes. They're just getting away. Sugar. And one more for luck. Yes. Oh, I didn't want that. See, I didn't want that. Bloody circle now. Right, let's just change the camera angle so you can get a bit of a close-up on it. That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Right, change the camera angle, guys. A bit more of a close-up so you can see the game a little bit better. It's a cool game. It really is a cool game. But those little extra power-ups are a little bit of a distraction. They sort of hover around. Now I need to change my weapon here because this is rubbish. Well, it's not bad. It's not the worst weapon. But I want to change it back to lasers if I can. This is more of a defensive weapon really, because they kind of encircle you. Oh, you can fire as well, which is cool. So yeah, you just change your direction by pressing the R button. And you see they're coming down. If you hit them, they kind of stay put. The little green power up there. Ah, it's gone back to laser. I've missed that opportunity now. Oh, laser. We got laser. Cool. Level 6 laser. Awesome. Should be good to go now. Nice bit of mode 7 going on, guys. Ah, didn't want that.
Right.
Need my lasers back.
Multiple shots.
Rubbish, I don't want that weapon! Lasers. There we go, we got it back. Level 4. No slowdown, guys, at all. Some lovely mode 7 going on. This just proves the Super Nintendo can do it when they write the right games for it. Right, so you just got to destroy a few more here. I think we can get off this level. That was nice. Obliterate everything. We're maxed out on the laser now, which is good. Let's get that bomb. Nice score, 600,000 so far. So I've had a few extra lives. I'm up to 5 lives now. Let's give him a bomb. Deal with that. And another one. One more. Done it. Awesome. Great level. Well, I think this next level is like a little mini level. But it's quite tricky. Bump the sound up a bit. It's good music, this game. This is really fast. Quite tricky. Took a hit there. Weapon level's gone down to 3. Oh, so close. Don't want that power up. Bugger off. It's such a distraction, that green thing hovering around. Yes, we've done it, guys. Short little level. 950,000, which is cool. Pulsating planets to deal with now. As well as these buggers.
Laser.
Really tricky level this. Just about finding a path, really. No, I didn't want that. Seems to be doing the job. I'm going to get hit by a planet in a minute. I'm going to have to do a bomb here. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky. Ah! One life down, guys. Ah! 2 down. Come on. Had to use a bomb there. Can't see a myself getting through this.
Power shot.
This is a rubbish weapon, no! Taking some damage, guys, I really am here. Ah! Not good, this is not looking good. That's rubbish, this is such a shit weapon, honestly. It's rubbish. Ah! Sorry guys, I really wanted to do this for you, but it ain't gonna happen. Not with this shit weapon. No, ain't having it. Ah, damn. Ugh. This is the last life. It's such a shit weapon. What is it doing? Fuck. Anyway, I said 1 coin, 1 credit, no continues, that's it. Well, it was a good game, guys, wasn't it? Fantastic game, but those floating power-ups do get annoying. A bit of a distraction, they do get in the way. I mean, that was my only gripe with the game. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. I hope you did, guys. If you've got any questions you want to ask me, send them to my email address. I put a link in this video below. Just go to that link. It's retro.raiders@wiremail.com. Just send us any of your questions. Be cool to answer them in future videos. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us the old thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.